Golden Era Gaming.
Welcome back to Golden Era Gaming. I'm your host today, Martin, and I'm joined with the co-host or sub-host, as I like to call him, my brother Martin. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Martin.
And you'll know us by now as the Super Martin brothers.
Yes.
I can't go anywhere without people saying, "Hey, you two, the Super Martin brothers."
We are starting to get recognised a lot.
Recognise your bland voices. And your sniggering.
And your mildly witty descriptions of games that no one plays anymore. It's those guys.
Yeah, it is you two. We're the Super Martin Bros, and today we are we're doing more of the same. How have you been this week, Martin?
Oh yeah, pretty good. All the better for playing games all week. Actually, no, because the games were rubbish this week for me. I've just ruined the episode already. Rubbish, though. Really rubbish this week.
No, don't give away the ending.
I have. It's too late now.
No, actually, this is like the beginning of a film where two partners, aka you are one partner, and your games are your other partner.
Yeah.
And you have a bit of rupture at the beginning,
true.
Like Turner and Hooch or something. And then at the end, your games die, but they have little baby games.
True, yeah.
And you have them, but they still slobber all over your front room.
It's quite specifically like Turner and Hooch. I don't think all films are modelled on Turner and Hooch.
The more I think about it, the more this episode is like...
Hands up of our listeners who's Googling Turner and Hooch right now because they got no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, come off it. Everyone's watched Turner and Hooch.
No one has.
I've seen Turner and Hooch. Actually, I haven't watched it for a while.
If we averaged out the amount of times that you've watched Turner and Hooch, then sure, everyone's watched Turner and Hooch once.
That's a good point. Underrated cop film, really. We're Jeffin this week, don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of continuity there. We're Jeffin.
That's
Jeffin
why I'll come out Jeffin already. Like, the Jeffin G's this week.
That's why you're in such a foul mood.
I am.
So in case you haven't grasped the concept by the episode G, we're going through all of the games from all of the letters in alphabetical order for Mega Drive and Super Nintendo, and we're just going to recommend the best ones of each letter, so you don't have to. And at the end, we're going to pick one of these games for each letter to go into the Hall of Game.
The Hall of Games. We'll have a top 5 and a standout. And
rain nor shine, whatever letter it is, a game will go into the Hall of Game. Whether there's a million games in that letter whether there's just 3 games. They all get the prestigious sort of wall-mounted silver cartridge.
Yeah.
Platinum mounted on. No expense spared.
I don't think we've had a week yet that the winning game has not actually been a good game, but it's very possible that is going to happen at some point.
So people can look forward to that.
Yeah.
Can't they? They can look forward to rubbish games winning.
Yeah. The
a
underdog.
bit like an underdog, isn't
it?
Yeah.
A classic Rocky story.
I'm sick of always the best games winning.
No, always talking about the same. S gets too much attention with your Street Fighters and your Sonics and your Super Marios.
You're just giving them attention right now.
Yeah.
Don't talk about them.
That's
what they want.
Yeah, well.
We're here to talk about the Gs.
I know, but
the rubbish Gs. I didn't actually think the Gs were that bad until I looked at your SNES games. I thought, oh my goodness.
Wait a minute.
Pick, anything?
Didn't last week the SNES was like the best last week, wasn't it? By a good few notches.
Yeah.
And yet
it's
you were
really
on SNES.
weird.
Who decided?
You can't. There's no fix going on.
It feels very much like a fix.
I'm actually worn out of playing all these good games this week. I would love like a week off just playing crap.
You're breaking my heart, rubbish. Martin.
I just don't think you're playing the games hard enough.
I'm playing them so hard.
I think it's you.
And soft as well, because you've got to play both. I'm doing the full range a holistic approach to gaming.
What?
I tried my
Firm but
best.
fair.
I mean, I gave Where's Wally a good shot this week. And
Shh, we don't.
that's what it came to.
This is
That's what. Well,
spoilers.
well, you
Actually, people do listen for the spoilers.
pushed me into a corner. Is Where's Wally going to win the G game? There's probably already a few questions going through your head right now. Where's Wally G?
You know, I thought, whoa, that's a great idea for a game until I played until I played it. I thought, wow, such poor execution for
There you
know,
go.
it could
So
have
you
been.
played it after I suggested I might be picking it, and then you were like, "This is rubbish." And for me, it was like, finally a good game."
How did they? Right. So, without giving any more games away, let's play A to Zelda.
A to Zelda.
So, as is tradition, for some reason, we SNES goes first.
Because it's the best.
I wonder if people. Well, I wonder if people might complain that it gives unfair bias, because by the time you get to Mega Drive, everyone's tired
That's true.
of listening to it.
We could always
games.
swap like at wherever the halfway point is. Of the
Yeah, okay. Well, we're about quarter in. We could do... Okay, from next week, we'll do Mega Drive goes first for, I don't know, a few letters.
okay.
Does that sound like a plan?
Doesn't sound very scientific, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, quarter.
You said about a quarter, and then we'll do it next week for a few weeks.
Well, you can't quarter 26, can you? Can you?
That's why I said
No,
halfway.
You can't. Oh, you can half 26. But isn't it a top heavy?
How do you mean?
Oh, who cares? Huh? We'll tell you next week. Let's not give them suspense. Will Mega Drive be going first next week?
Yeah.
Join us next week.
In.
The most boring cliffhangers. They're saying, I don't care.
Stick with
They want to
SNES
listen
first.
anyway.
No one cares. Literally
Right,
no one.
so back to it. G, SNES. It's time for the dump.
Okay, that means it's me to go first. SNES. I was doing SNES this week.
How did you find SNES?
Terrible. Just unbearably terrible. There were a couple of strategy games in there that were terrible. I don't even want to mention them. George Foreman boxing, terrible. Not even enjoyable. There's something called Gary Kitchen's Super Battle Tank,
That's on both consoles, by the way.
which was also, I don't know, maybe it was okay because everything else was rubbish. But I also
thought it was going to be a good cooking
I
game.
know. I thought this is
Okay.
another of our spin-off games.
Who's Gary Kitchen? How many burgers can you flip?
Welcome to Gary's Kitchen, and where we'll be.
I thought, flippin' heck, they've given Gary Rhodes his own signature game.
It's a prequel to Desert Strike. And, So yeah, that was. Well, let's get to a game that was slightly less rubbish, shall we?
Okay, yeah.
Ghoul Patrol.
Yeah?
Yeah. Pretty bad. Apparently, it was a sequel to a game called Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh,
Which-
I've heard of that being good. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, that's apparently quite a good game. I haven't played it yet because that would be cheating to get to the Zs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
apparently, it's just a bit of a cash-in. They made a sequel to it with completely different developers, and it's
okay.
not as good.
It looks pretty 90s cool, doesn't it?
Well, I was going to say it's about as 90s as you get. So what I thought I'd do is just describe. There's like a sort of a story text.
Close your eyes, everyone.
Yeah.
Close your eyes.
So it starts with a guy in a baseball cap and 3D glasses tucked into his shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And the text reads, I'm not going to read the whole lot because it goes on for ages, but it goes, check it out, dudes. There is a cool exhibition about ghouls and demons of the Dark Ages at the library. Come on, Zeke. Let's go. And then it says, "Look out, Zeke. There's something happening to the chest." And a treasure chest opens up to reveal a book. "No problemo, Julie. It's just some sort of special effect. This exhibition is rad." So we know that Zeke is a pretty cool guy already. He already had the 3D glasses, and I don't know.
He's around
Zeke.
with 3D glasses, just in case there's some 3D. That's with the red lens and the blue lens,
Yeah,
isn't it?
of course. They didn't have real D back then.
I thought he looked like Marty McFly a little bit as well.
I don't know, Zeke. I have a funny feeling about this. Wow, this book looks very old. What do you think is inside? Dunno. Only one way to find out. I mean, he's just such a crazy guy, isn't he, the Zeke? He's just going to open the book straight up. Look at this, Zeke. It is a phrase. It says, "To you, the reader, best beware of..." Anyway, and it goes on.
Hey, whilst that sounds like a rubbish video game, it's probably the best ever episode of The Archers
Yes.
that you've just done a one-man...
I wonder if we could add in that music sub after the...
clinking and... I think I would have lost interest if this was a real situation when it's, hey, there's a cool rad exhibition at the library. Like,
I know.
no.
Because obviously once they were inside the library and there's a treasure chest that opens up and a book like magically floats out of it, that would be cool. But you're taking a big chance to go there expecting something cool. Do you know what I mean? Like,
done that too many times
only
before.
after the fact could you say, yeah, that was actually pretty cool. But at what point are you going, yeah, okay, I'm up for visiting the library just in case something magical happens. So strange game.
But how did it play?
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
Good enough to make my mention, get my prime description spot. It was okay. Let's get back onto a terrible game, because I feel like the meh games this week will be highlighted by how bad the bad games are. This one is called Ghoul! Exclamation point. It's a football game. And I am definitely saying that this is the worst football game that I played so far in this series. It's taken the spot from Capcom's Soccer Shootout, which you might remember was my stinky dump 1 week.
Yeah.
This is just whoo. So this is, I think, this is kind of my stinky dump this week. So it's you've just got to play it to believe how bad it is.
It's quite unbelievable.
Did you have a go?
I did have a quick go, and that's all I needed, actually.
Yeah. It just plays terrible. Like, the players are just that whole kind of like music box thing where they're just sort of spinning around in a circle, and it feels like a sort of, like a Victorian era thing where everyone's like, let's play some football, and they're kind of running around perfectly upright and pass the ball, Jenkins.
Were you not slightly disturbed? Maybe I just had two teams that were just made out of clones, but
the bright blonde hair.
Every player was exactly the same height, weight, complexion, and they were like, bleached blonde hair, same running style.
Yeah. That was actually, what I was going to mention next, so I'm glad you also noticed that. I mean, I think I was playing against Brazil or something, and the number of like Swedish kind of guys on their team was quite impressive.
Every player was Roy of the Rovers.
Yeah, which is, I think, what also made me think it's got that like Victorian era feel to it. I used Brill cream in my lovely blonde hair. So yeah, terrible.
I tell you what, there was one feature I quite liked that I don't think it made a difference in the game, because the game's so frantic. The game was a bit like watching under-7s football, where everyone just sort of follows the ball around.
Yeah.
But there was an option at the beginning where you can turn offside on and off.
Nice.
That would be great, wouldn't it? On just FIFA, to just have a goal hanger and
Yeah.
just punt it up to the. And the other thing that I thought was quite nice was that there was like, instead of realistic sound effects, there was game show music in the background. Not even like action adventure movie. It was just like Bruce's Price is Right music on repeat for like the whole game. So there was a lot happening in it in the game.
And
Definitely.
there was another thing about it that I thought was genuinely a cool thing. You know, in John Madden, the NFL sort of game, you have those kind of squares that you select, like do you want to run shotgun or blitz or whatever, and they had a similar thing like that. If you had a corner, it would have a similar kind of screen where you select the different types of moves. And I know that football games started to introduce that kind of thing more. But
that's quite nice.
Yeah, it was
a set piece, isn't it? So why not?
It was a bit more informative. I think when the FIFA games started doing it, it was more like I think the first
you never
couple
knew
of
where it
games,
was going.
you
did
just
you?
put the arrow somewhere on the pitch, and then later on you could actually kind of sync it up to an actual player. But it was still just like a one kick thing. Whereas I don't even get this feature to work, but potentially it could have been a good idea that it's an actual sequence move rather than just punt it and hope. I'm not sure this game pulled it off, but as an idea, I thought that was okay.
It's good to see. Good to see.
Okay, we've actually got a couple of good games here. Next, Goof Troop. This is a goofy game, and I think I would describe it as an action RPG. I think the official game type is action adventure.
Yeah.
But it's got that thing of like you're more walking around a kind of RPG kind of map type thing.
Yeah.
But there is action there. You do get hurt often, and you got to like throw stuff at baddies.
And you've got to fight in game rather than having like sort of those weird fight engine things that happen
Exactly.
in RPGs.
Yeah.
Some people that probably do have a proper word, but
Yeah.
I think I described it really nicely.
Someone can write in and tell us what we're doing wrong.
They'll say, just Google it, you idiots.
Yeah.
No. A letter, please.
So, actually, I'm not sure if it's a really good game or if I just was swamped with terrible games, but
Yeah.
definitely a contender of my section this week. Okay. Next up, because we're doing sort of a new improved dump this week.
New and improved.
Well, we're going to keep the episode slightly shorter. We'll see. This is called Great Circus Mystery. It's a Mickey and Minnie game, sort of related to the Castle of Illusion type thing, I guess. That was pretty cool. You're kind of going around with a vacuum cleaner, sucking up ghosts and stuff like that. I've made a note. I don't know if this is the right term, but I said generous game physics with baddies. Like quite a few times, I was like, oh wait, because I thought I'd accidentally nudged a baddie and I didn't get punished for it.
Yeah, I know what you mean with the generous. Like if you normally don't bop someone straight square on the head, you've sort of slightly misjudged it. It gives you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. So I like that because I'm not very good. I like generosity within platforms.
I thought it was quite nice looking.
Yeah.
I love how chipper and happy Mickey Mouse is. He's just jolly, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's animated in that way.
Simpler times.
Simpler times back then.
Can you imagine being around when Mickey was the guy and then they bring out like Donald Duck characters? People would have been complaining even back then, wouldn't they? Oh, it's not like the good old days with Happy Mickey. Now it's all about ranting and raging.
Duck. And what about that goofy goofball? Goofy.
Exactly. They were the influencers of their time.
that Mickey game has come out a few years after Castle of Illusion, hasn't it? But I thought it was pretty tight. I thought it was quite nice. It had a nice difficulty level, i.e. it was nice and easy.
Yeah.
And plenty of, you got an energy bar rather than just, I thought it was good.
Sometimes you want a challenge, and sometimes you just want to enjoy the scenery. And I think Mickey Mouse is good for that. It's like, I'm just enjoying the walkthrough. It's quite easy, but yeah. Next. This one is called Great Waldo Search, which is Where's Wally, as we say in the UK, and where's Waldo, as they say in America. I don't know what they say anywhere else, but a pretty rubbish game that I enjoyed playing. Would have got my Stinky Dump award for the week, but I'm gonna have to give that to Ghoul. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like the book, but a sort of scrolling picture game. Ugh. Enough said.
I think it gives you a headache. I think
it does.
This game probably invented square eyes.
Yeah.
Would say, "Oh, you're staring at that TV, you get square eyes." This game, definitely. Yeah. People got square eyes playing this.
Definitely.
You're staring probably really close to a screen.
It is.
Screening it for like pixelated. Where's Wally? And you can feel the headache generating.
Hit the nail on the head.
No, I need to find him, and then I'll quit.
Yeah, it's seizure-inducing. So let's move on before everyone gets a migraine. Final choice, GunForce. This is like a sort of side-scrolling kind of shooter type thing. Weird but cool kind of game, I thought. Just like shooting stuff, but there's a couple of you get if you jump on there's an armored jeep, you just jump on that and you can sort of control the jeep, so you're sort of driving through the baddies. And then there's a helicopter, and you can do the same thing, just fly through baddies with that, and actually take on the helicopter's minigun, shoot people there. Not very popular. People slag off the port compared to an arcade. So the arcade version was much better apparently. This one's a bit slow, and it is a little bit slow, but it was a bit of a slow week for the SNES, so it's on my list. And
is it? I thought I had a quick go. I thought it was quite difficult. You don't get many shots before you die, but what I quite liked is that when he does die, he's sort of like, when you're in like drama club or something, and you have to die, and you sort of curl up like, and you sort of roll. He does that.
It's very dramatic, yeah.
There's a little sequence. Oh, I've been shot. Oh.
Yeah, I also agree that you do die a little bit too easily. Usually with those kind of games, you get it like an energy bar or something, but yeah.
Well, so that's your dump.
I'm done.
So that was sort of, well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's,
so go on.
Okay.
Let's hear your lovely games. Mega Drive.
Mega Drive dump. I mean, I don't want to talk them up too much. I just meant that they were consistent, like probably the rest of the weeks.
Yeah.
I thought the SNES G is probably the worst letter for SNES so far, I reckon.
Yeah.
Just in terms of quantity. Oh, there wasn't that many though. There was probably twice the amount of Mega Drive games. So still some good games in the SNES. Mega Drive. I'm going to start with probably the stinkiest game.
Yeah.
That we've had so far. It was unbelievable.
Really?
We're talking about a game so bad. It's so bad it's good. So it's called Growl.
Yeah.
Or as I enjoyed calling it Growler, but it's actually just called Growl. It's a 1991 beat 'em up. It was taken from an arcade, and in 1991 it was the second most successful arcade machine in Japan.
Really?
Yeah. But the arcade allows you to play 4 players, whereas Mega Drive doesn't let you play 2 players. That was the one thing, because as a novelty value for this game, you definitely want to have someone with you also pointing at it and laughing.
Yeah.
Because it takes itself really, really seriously. And so I don't know why it was sort of successful to begin with. I can see now why it is, but it's a very novel take on a beat 'em up. It starts off, it looks like you're in like an Australian bar, like in Crocodile Dundee, and there's 4 mates sitting around drinking, and you get to pick one of them. Who are you going to be? And you pick... they're all like quite they've all got an open shirt with muscles coming out. I thought it was a Western because I didn't read the initial blurb.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's a poaching game. So you basically are like Indiana Jones, quite badly animated.
Yeah.
And it's quite 3D. So yeah, so you pick your character, you pick your Indiana Jones character, and then you're basically single-handedly going around this sort of half desert, half Africa, Western sort of scene, beating up people, trying to free all these animals, and you're just releasing them, naturally into the wild. The first why I continue playing it beyond the bar scene, is because a whole load of random but very duplicated baddies come in, and you do the usual punch kick, but there's quite a variety in like punching and kick to do. And when so you kick someone down and then they're like on all fours because they've been beaten up half, and then there's a move that you can do where you just repeatedly knee the guy in the head. Which I thought was quite brutal. And you go around, you can pick up, your usual knife, gun, a whip, and that's good. But when you pick up a dynamite, you throw it about a foot away from you, and then as soon as you've thrown it, you lie on the floor like you're waiting for it, and all the other baddies just stood up, but equally around you, and then it blows up,
and they all get hurt.
They all get hurt, but you don't. Even like you're throwing this dynamite next to like a tiger or an elephant that you're rescuing.
Right.
Only bad guys get affected.
Well, we lost all the rhinos, but at least we got those pesky poachers.
But I just love it how he just dives on the floor as soon as he's thrown it. You have some really strange baddies. At one point you have this army of women dressed in like 80s power suits who can fly and kick across half the screen.
Yeah.
At sort of the tail end of the first level, you've beaten up hundreds of people by now. You've gone on top of a train. No. Before you get on the top of this sort of American railroad style train, you release a whole load of hawks into the air, and you think, I freed the hawks. And then all these bad guys come out of you when you're on top of this train.
Yeah.
And you start beating them up. It's got quite a generous life bar, so you can take quite a pounding yourself. And then the hawks come and help you out. They come and pick out all the baddies. They come and repay the favour.
So they're smart. They know that
and later on in the game, an elephant comes out and just starts charging people. So the elephant teams up with you.
That's cool.
So maybe it's not a bad thing that you can't have 4 players, because all these animals that you free become your friends.
So it's for people without friends. You can become like a weird sort of virtual cat person.
Yeah, and without a friend to like laugh at the game, you sort of quite like the game. I like the idea how this guy is just trying to rescue every animal in one day by himself.
Yeah,
but it takes itself really serious, but it's really comical. It's like terribly absurd, really, and that's why it's definitely a game to play.
See,
and I would suggest you play it.
When you said it's a poacher's game, I thought that maybe you were doing the poaching. I thought that would be kind of funny that you'd go around and just...
Well, that's what I thought when I thought, this bar is full of poachers. Are we going to go and...
Just going to go and shoot
I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, actually, that could
tasks.
be... that could be one of our games. It could be called like...
Game Ideas.
Poachers something, and it's actually a game about how to poach the perfect egg. But if you master egg poachery, then you get to unlock, just like our looting game.
Yeah,
if you get to grade 8,
a really graphic poaching game. Yeah, but you have to have mastered like the perfect breakfast in bed poached eggs.
Homemade,
have-
what's that sauce called that they use on it?
Béarnaise.
Hollandaise from scratch.
So only after you can be really, really gentle and loving are you then allowed. That's what it takes to be a real poacher.
Here you go, my dear. Here's a lovely breakfast for you. And I'm just going to go and I've unlocked my secret game, so I'll see you tomorrow. I'm busy.
People do tune in now to steal to borrow these game ideas.
Probably. We've got, what have we got so far? We've got the loot and looting. We've got Desert Strike, which unlocks the actual Desert Strike game.
They're quite forgettable because I think we've probably had one per episode.
I think so.
I can only remember.
Poaching.
Desert Strike. Loot, something.
There was another one at some point.
Looting.
Anyway,
Looting
someone else
and
can.
poaching.
You're welcome to them as long as we get to play and review your game.
Okay, so that was
Poacher's Classic.
a really fun,
Yeah.
dated but fun, interesting rubbish game. But now this is coming up. My next selection is one of my favourite games, my favourite finds this series.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. It's a game, Sega only, called Gunstar Heroes. So it's a run and gun by nature.
Yeah.
It's made by the people who made Alien Soldier.
Yeah.
But this is they set up Treasure, the the game developer company people, and this was their first release. And it's in a similar vein. It's frantic, just all out action.
Yeah.
You run along and gun, but you can also sort of, whilst gunning, do flying kicks and throw things. Everything's coming at you from the first minute. And whilst you think that would get a bit tiring, just the variety of moves that you can do and the levels and the bad guys that come along, it keeps it interesting. You can even combine weapons. So there's about 4 weapons: homing, sort of missiles, lightning, flamethrower, machine gun. But if you combine them during the level, you can like combine a machine gun to make a homing machine gun.
Ooh, that's smart.
Yeah. So you can throw enemies, slide kick, flying kick. It's just when it doesn't get stale because there's 4 levels to choose from, and you can choose them in the beginning. So you don't have to get past level 1 to be in level 2. There's 4 like totally different levels, and it's really good.
Oh, that's cool. So
it's really fun.
You can just like jump in on any world that you want to.
Yeah, and it's what I liked about it is that unlike Alien Soldier, which was uber difficult, this has got plenty of flexibility in it, and it's so you can sort of learn as you go. And I think you can adjust the difficulty anyway, but you're straight in and you pick it up really quickly because you're not being killed off instantly. Designed especially for the Mega Drive.
All right, you said that already. God, showing off.
No, it was designed especially for the Mega Drive.
Yeah, no,
Not it's
you
just
said
available.
it again, just bragging.
Well, you didn't let me finish again. Designed especially for the Mega Drive processor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
showing off because I didn't get to play it.
It was originally going to be called Lunatic Gunstar.
Yeah. Why don't you mention again that it's Mega Drive only?
I will at the end.
Okay.
Like good advertising. And then it was going to be called just Lunatic, but Sega America didn't like that title.
Why not?
The Japanese liked it. They thought it was demeaning or something.
Oh, okay.
And the next time we hook up, it's got a co-op mode, so we can play together. That would be like double intense.
Yeah.
Especially as it was only made for the Mega Drive. I think you just have to play it to believe it. The reason it's quite different in this run and gun, there's loads of run and guns, but these guys quit Konami as their ideas weren't being supported. Probably a bit like the guy that made Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah.
And then they all left in droves to create treasure, and they wanted to fulfill those ideas. And that's and they've got a bit of a rep for being a good at being good.
I like those stories. Indie developers doing their own thing.
Yeah, they had to do it. But if you want something a bit sexier and a game that rivals Altered Beast as the sexiest game we've had so far, any ideas what this might be? Beginning with G?
Gargoyles?
No. 1989. Don't give away any other games.
Well, you asked.
You think Gargoyles are sexy?
Yeah. If it's the isn't the graphics on Gargoyles really good?
Yeah. All right. So
I'm
talking about Altered Beast, right? Style sexy.
Oh, as in like bonerific.
No, I don't. What does that mean?
It means that you well, do you want me to explain what happens to you when you play Altered Beast again? We had enough of that during the A.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, from the makers of Altered Beast,
Yeah.
Golden Axe. So, following Altered Beast, they greased up some more guys.
Yeah.
And they gave you
And girls.
Golden Axe.
Isn't there like a...
Yeah, there's 3 characters actually. There's a Conan the Barbarian style guy with a sword.
Yeah.
You've got a
Chitara.
axe-wielding dwarf and a lady with a long sword. And it's set in that sort of classic medieval style fantasy world. The art is typical of that medieval fantasy sort of 80s, really. You know, you can imagine Dolph Lundgren playing the or Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a Conan. I think it was actually. I think it was styled on Conan the Barbarian. So just imagine that in a game if you haven't ever played Altered Beast.
Yeah.
I thought, because I remember playing this, I think I played it originally on the Master System.
Yeah.
And I remember it being a lot of button bashing, but we played it a lot. But I thought it would have dated quite a bit. And initially I thought it had. But it was sort of quite nicely done. And it's got a bit of charm to it the more you play.
Yeah.
And it's still quite playable. And it's got a multiplayer again, so you could, I could be Conan, couldn't I? And you could be the lady. And we could go around.
Okay.
One of the annoying things though, they always do it on Mega Drive games anyway.
Yeah.
On these beat 'em ups is Mega Drive's A, B and C. So the first button you press is always A, isn't it? Why do they always have the magic like superpower thing that depletes your magic store and deletes all the baddies on the screen? Why do they always have that as the first button you press?
Yeah.
So in the first second of the level you press the magic button and blast everyone away, but no one's even got on the screen yet.
Mm-hmm.
Every time. Maybe it's just me.
One weird thing with the Golden Axe games, they are cool, but they've got this sort of weird, like everyone walks like they're sort of doing the moonwalker. You know, when they go the moonwalk, they sort of do the weird. There's something a bit weird about their walking physics. They're sort of gliding across.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, they do look like they're moonwalking. Maybe that makes it better.
Maybe that's why you
I suppose they're doing that 3D thing, aren't they? In these, it's 3D, but it's not.
Yeah.
So they've only got the 2D sort of walking.
They didn't quite master how to get them from plane A to plane C at the top.
Do you remember the really freaky thing on Golden Axe, where at the end, sort of, not even at the end of a level, but at your breathing space bit, so you've beaten up a whole load of baddies, and before you shift on to the next zone, some tiny little pixies with little swag bags over their shoulder run on, and you have to go around trying to kick them, and if you do kick them, these sort of magic vials pop out and that tops up your magic, but you have to chase around these pixies kicking them.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Or stubbing them with the end of your sword handle.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty weird.
Who comes up with
quite
that stuff?
Fun.
Hey guys,
I've
I've got the idea that's just going to solve our game. So, you know how you always want to kick those little pixie things? Sorry, Dave.
And everyone's just stood around going, huh?
You know.
What, cute little lovely pixies?
You know, they're like always trying to like walk around you and stuff. And it's like, get out of my... Yeah, I think... I'm not sure if Konami has a space for you anymore, Dave. Enjoy your independent career. Oh, wait, that was the last game, wasn't it?
I can't think who made Golden Axe.
I'm mixing
All
up
I've got here is
my stories.
Konami are going to write you a letter.
I hope so.
They'll say, that we have no minutes that suggest that Dave wanted to...
He's always been a valued member of staff.
He says he loves pixies and sprites and thingies.
Sprite.
Yeah. So...
Yeah.
That's Golden Axe.
Good stuff.
That's Golden Axe. So they're my three main ones, but I will mention Gargoyles as it's on there. That's up there as well as a really nice graphics, quite dark actually, quite scary game for Disney, based on an animated series. But I didn't ever really watch it. But what I loved about Gargoyles is the way that the gargoyle moves. It just feels really nice to play. You climb and you can do a double jump where you jump once and then you sort of flap your wings and you get that extra
sexy.
It's just really impressive.
Someone might say.
You know what? This may be the sexiest game that we've had so far. Apart from Ghoul with an exclamation mark.
Oh yeah,
it's quite sexy.
Yeah,
quite mesmerising. It's sort of platformer, but it's sort of puzzly elements as well. Like you've got smash through walls and find things. Very late Mega Drive game. I quite like the late games. I think people like the early games, but I really like they're sort of maxing out the technology on all these late games.
Can you answer this for me? Because the later games often did have way better graphics and stuff.
Yeah.
But what's kind of interesting is that they still had to play on the same system, right? So it was always possible. So how does that work? Is it just that they discovered they could add a new sort of bit to the cartridge that would pump it up?
I think when I was reading up about Gunstar Heroes, because they were impressed with how the baddies moved, I think they just get more and more familiar with how to get every last inch every last bit out of the processor. And the way that they did big baddies, if you think about all the colours and the movements and stuff, it's they actually broke it down into sort of smaller sections and had them working rather than one big sprite with loads of moving bits. They sort of moved them differently. And again with the colours, Mega Drive can only have 64 colours on a screen at a time, yet some games you see, you think, how have they got all that range? And they were sort of tricks, really, that they'd worked out to get things looking 3D.
To sort of develop these tricks. And
yeah, I don't know. I don't think they added too much more to it. But again, I might be totally wrong. I'm just guessing.
That sounds about right. It's maybe similar to how like the CD was out in the 80s already, I think, and yet CDs just started sounding louder and louder because they just found new ways to sort of smash the upper limits, whereas they used to leave a bit more margin for error and just go, let's not fiddle around there, guys. So maybe the same with games.
And I suppose even with the music in Mega Drive, you get some developers that really design it for the hardware, don't you? And some that just put any old rubbish on. So you can have games that have got really rubbish sounding sounds and music, and some that they've, like some of the Sonic games where they've just out of a FM synthesizer, they've managed to get loads out of it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe we'll get someone on one day who can explain.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe we won't. Until then, we'll go with that.
Yeah. That sounds good enough.
Just a couple of honourable mentions for a couple other games that are on that people might want to check out if they're on the G. Ghouls and Ghosts, which is a very early and successful sort of arcade platformer. very quirky, sort of Halloween-y graveyard,
Yeah.
but spookily difficult. Maybe for the more hardcore gamer. But you get loads of lives and loads of continues, and you sort of continue from roughly where you were in the game. So it is quite playable, but a bit difficult. Not out on the SNES, but I think Super Ghouls and Ghosts is on the SNES. And
Right.
that probably won't win the S category.
Probably not.
Unfortunately.
Stop
So,
talking about the S's, Martin.
all
All
right.
right. Time.
There was a game called General Chaos, which is a really popular game.
Yeah.
It's like a point-and-click strategy, a bit like a cannon fodder, but it's sort of 5v5 in most instances, and very cartoony, very sort of satirical, sometimes a bit rude and gory in a sort of cartoon way. But you do have that sort of, you've got to move a mouse pointer around. And back in the day, I probably would have minded that, but now you have the luxury of being able to do other things with games now. So I think anything with that sort of
Yeah.
point and click mouse action on a D-pad isn't that favourable.
Mhm.
But people love it, and there is one mode where you can control people with using the D-pad rather than pointing and clicking. But it's pretty fun, especially in two-player mode. General Chaos, try that out. And last of all, I thought it would be rubbish.
More games.
This is just like a one-liner. A game called Granada. It's like Tank, you remember on the Atari?
Yeah.
Meets GTA. So it's that sort of.
Okay.
They've just expanded Tank to a massive,
And then blow up buildings.
a massive sort of open world
Yeah.
thing. Not quite as GTA as GTA.
Sounds
More
great.
like Tank, but bigger.
Any of these games
but
would
it's
have,
set-
would have made my list, wouldn't they?
But it's set in the futuristic Africa in 2016,
Okay.
where a war erupts over mining rights. So 2016, the future. Anyway, that's the dump. Phew. There's a lot there today. So it's getting bigger and bigger, aren't they?
Never ending. This is supposed to be new and improved, slim, like it has been for the last 3 weeks. Next week, guys. Next week will be our most
gonna be-
concise episode yet. We might actually
Next week's going to be
do.
so improved.
Yeah.
You won't recognise next week compared to this week.
Might even have a
Yeah.
countdown timer. How about that? Like a countdown clock. Do do do
Yeah.
do do.
Please just make it over. All of these games are rubbish.
I could have
Well,
just
what we'll
said
try and
that
do next week
for my.
is just try and like feature the really good and the really bad games,
Yeah.
and then really have more mentions of games that you should still check out. Maybe we'll try and do something like that. But it's quite difficult because I ramble on.
And also, like, even when you get a terrible week, like I did, you still end up picking a lot of games because it's like, well, if I'm going to let that one in, then I got to let that one in too. So let's pick our top 5 and our favorite
Top 5.
game. Okay.
Okay, let's get who's getting promoted.
I think probably for mine, for consideration, we could only really consider Great Circus Mystery and Goof Troop.
I liked Gunstar Heroes has got to get up there. Golden Axe was pretty cool, and Gargoyles I think is a really neat game. So those three. I'm trying to think if I liked the Great Circus Mystery. That's on Mega Drive as well, and that played really nicely.
Yeah.
So I'll vouch for that. Is there anything else? People do love General Chaos, but I could see where it was good,
Yeah.
but I didn't get on with it as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to scrub that. Granada. And whilst Growl was really fun, I think I'd probably have to pick a more solid, obviously good game into the top 5.
Yeah.
So we're already at 5, aren't we? Goof Troop, Great Circus Mystery, Gunstar Heroes, Golden Axe, Gargoyles. And that's actually a pretty solid
That
5.
is.
That's up there with
Yeah.
the other 5s that we've had so far.
That's a solid 5, yeah, for sure. All right. What did you think was the best game that you played?
I thought Gunstar Heroes was the best.
Really?
Definitely the best, yeah. I thought it was... I think there was repeatability there.
Yeah.
playability. Is there any other words like that I can think of?
It's 90s, so like rad ability,
Radability,
cowabunga ability.
invincibility. Oh yeah, cowabunga. I haven't said that for a while.
We got a question in from Martina from St Martin's. Were the 90s really the coolest decade? Apart from the SNES and the Mega Drive, what else is cool about them? And I was thinking, you've got cap on back to front. That's pretty cool. Reebok pumps and Nike Air.
They were cool.
Change colour T-shirts.
Oakleys. Like they were
Oakleys,
bulletproof. They
yeah.
were sold on like bulletproof glasses, and you're thinking, wow, if I get shot in the eye today, I'll be fine.
I'll be absolutely fine.
Oh, did you just say hypercolour T-shirts?
Yeah. What?
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't mention the brand, but did you get sponsored?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say global hypercolour.
Oh, now you did. If Global Hypercolour are listening, please send us some free T-shirts. You could even... they could make our brand.
If Global Hypercolour are still listening, are you okay? Because we haven't seen you for a while. What are you doing now? Oh, we're making hypercolour tea towels.
You know what?
Bed
we
sheets.
really need some Golden Era Gaming Hypercolour T-shirts. That has to happen.
Oh, that would be pretty good. I might have to just get some reactive... You can't iron them though, can you?
Can't you?
I don't think
So
so.
you can't iron
It's never
them.
been a problem with me anyway. I've never really ironed anything.
Yeah. But if we were to put our logo on, that would be a problem. We'll have to we're going to make some hand-sewn Global Hypercolour Golden Era Gaming. Or they'll probably just say like, "Gore," and then we'll give up. What else was there? Tab Clear, See-Through Coke, for anyone who wasn't around. Was it Harem Pants that MC Hammer wears?
Harem pants, yeah. So you've given her more than enough to be getting on with.
Can you think of anything else that makes that decade the coolest?
Can you think of anything cool that wasn't from that decade?
I can't actually.
No.
What was the cap that had the little like helicopter thing on the top? That must be 90s, right?
I don't know. That could be earlier.
Sort of
It's quite
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like Pied Piper.
I don't know if that was cool though. That one probably wasn't. In the 90s, you could just be. It wasn't sad. It was cool, wasn't it? Things could be overly cool.
Well, it depends on like if I was in my 20s in the 90s and someone wore one of those hats, I wouldn't think it was cool. But if I was in primary school, which I was, and someone showed up to school with one of those hats, which they didn't, I'd be like, "Whoa, that's the coolest thing ever." So,
yeah, but I don't know if that would have been cooler than someone having a hat on back to front. Does that hat still work back to front with the spinny thing on the top?
Yeah.
I don't think it looks cool though. I think it looks pretty sad with the spinny thing on the
Too
top.
much.
Too much.
You got 3D glasses that you wear for fun.
Oh, yeah,
Although I think they did that in the
know.
80s too. I think someone in Back to the Future had that. Now I think about it.
So yeah, that is another decade
Yeah.
I've got to worry about. Well, that's if you send us letters and stuff, we'll give you some serious airtime.
Yeah.
So thank you, Martina, for that.
Yeah.
I hope we've settled your nerves.
Yeah. Rest assured, they were cool.
It was the coolest.
Yeah.
It was cool times.
Just play Ghoul Patrol if you don't believe me, with the check it out dudes and all that stuff. Rad.
Mm.
We didn't pick our winner yet. Sorry, I almost forgot to read out Martina's email. You see, but
I think Gunstar Heroes has got to be the winner.
Okay.
It's just a couple of notches above the others, and runner up. Now that's going to be tricky. Runner up. Might have to be. I was thinking that Golden Axe was going to be rubbish, but it was pretty good.
Is Golden Axe better than Great Circus Mystery? Is it better than Gargoyles?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. Well, we tend to get a dark horse in there, don't we? Sometimes.
True. Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't be swaying our judgment based on formula. It's supposed to just go. Who's second best game.
Yeah, but it is nice to get like a runner-up. It's not quite good enough on its own merits, but it is like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if whilst it was nice, the Mickey Mouse game was polished and all of that. Is it like good and nice?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Which is good and nice out of those?
So are
I don't know.
you sticking for Golden Axe in at number 2 then? Is that your vote?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. It's a classic. It's still good.
Fine. So this week's entry into the Hall of Game is Gunstar Heroes.
Hall of Game.
And the runner-up, Golden Axe.
Golden
If you
Axe.
need
And
your
also check out
muscle fix.
Muscle Fix, yeah.
Well, it's
Gargoyles.
whatever you're into, Golden Axe has got you covered, really. Whatever kind of thing. Like it's got S&M kind of stuff. If you like, guys.
I always like the
girls.
idea of like Conan and these people going into battle. They've got their biggest sword out of the cupboard.
Yeah.
And they think, right, yeah, I've got the giant sword.
Yeah.
That's great. And what else should I wear? How about these leather pants?
Yeah.
Yeah? And some footwear.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Anything else?
Let's go. Oh, a pocket full of magic.
Yeah.
What do I hang this on? Oh, it's all right. It will clip onto the pants.
Yeah. Sunscreen?
Let's go.
No.
Oil?
No.
Go on then.
Any food? You know, I have a lot of muscle mass to maintain. I should probably make sure I'm eating. He would mostly just be eating in that film if it was
Look,
real.
pants and a sword. That's all we need.
That's what we need? Okay.
We better get going.
All right.
So don't forget to check out Gargoyles, Goof Troop, Great Circus Mystery starring Mickey and Minnie, and also Growl. Go on, check it out.
So that's us done for another week.
Yeah.
Another
What
week.
letter have you got next week? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
Or H, as some people say incorrectly.
Very modern.
Yeah. So if you want to listen to H on the Sega Snooper Nintendo,
Yeah.
let's do it next week.
Join us next week. Don't forget, next week you're on Mega Drive. I'm on SNES.
Okay, can't wait.
Don't forget. And don't forget to write to us or Twitter us or troll us.
Yeah,
Or
please.
any of those things. Do anything you like this week.
Welcome.
It's up to you. Take the week off or play these games or half and half.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. But join us next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.